This is the London nobody shows you, the London behind the shiny photos. Stay with me because the best part comes at the end. Hello, my friend. I am Anne. Today I'll tell you my real travel story. You see, the media always shows London as perfect lights, fashion, history, beauty, but the truth is different. The truth is messy, rainy, and sometimes even unfair. The problems I faced are not my mistakes. They are normal here. People who live in this city face them every day, but no one tells you, so I will. The plane landed and the sky was gray, heavy like a stone. I felt excited, but the city tested me from the first step. My card did not work on the bus. Not because I did not know how to use it, but because the machine was old and often failed. The driver was kind. He said, "Try again." I tried again. It failed. People behind me sighed. I felt shy, but I knew it was not my fault. Later, I learned this happened to many people. Machines break, systems fail, travelers stand confused. But you never see this in the glossy travel videos. When I arrived at my room, the heater did not work. I called the staff. They said, "We will fix it." I waited 1 hour in the cold. I wore two sweaters and drank water to stay calm. Finally, the heater worked. I smiled, but I also thought, how many guests before me had the same problem? This is not my mistake. This is the city. Old buildings, old systems, and people just accept it. I looked out the window and saw the street below. People walk fast, umbrellas break in the wind, and cars splash water on the sidewalk. I realized this is not a special bad day. This is normal life here. I went for a walk. The bus map looked simple, but the numbers were confusing. I took the wrong bus. At first, I felt lost, but then I realized many locals also looked confused. They check their phones and they ask each other. The transport system is not easy. It is not me, it is the city. A man next to me said, "This happens every day. You never know if the bus will come on time." He laughed, but it was a tired laugh. I held the rail and watched the city pass. The bus stopped in a place I did not know. I asked a woman, "Is the center this way?" She said, "Follow the river. Do not fight the map, follow the water." Her words felt like a soft guide. I followed the river. The water was brown and moody. It moves like the city breathes. I entered a small cafe. The smell of bread was warm. I asked for a coffee. The person at the counter spoke fast. I did not understand every word. I said, "Strong coffee, please." I took a sip. It was bitter. I wanted something sweet, but I drank it. Later, I heard from a local that many visitors make the same mistake. The menu is tricky. The accent is fast. It is not me. It is the city. I looked around and saw other people also confused with their orders. One woman said, "I asked for tea, but I got coffee." We laughed together. I tried to pay. My card tapped, but the screen said, "Try again." The person said, "The reader is slow today." I tried again. It worked. The person said, "It happens all the time." I thought the videos never show this small stress. I waited in a long line to see a famous place. The line moved slowly. A street musician played a happy song. I danced a little with my shoulder. A child laughed. I felt joy. But when I reached the door, the guard said, "Tickets closed for now." I waited for nothing. I felt sad. I saw other people also turn away. This is normal here. Long lines, closed doors, no warning. It is not me. It is the city. A man behind me said, "This is always like this. You wait and then they say no." He shrugged. Another person said, "Come early or do not come." I walked away and thought, the media shows the inside, not the long wait and the closed door outside. The sky turned dark. The rain started again. I bought a cheap umbrella. The wind broke it in 1 minute. I stood under a roof with a stranger. They said, "Rain is the real boss here." We both smiled. I thought, yes, this is the truth. The media shows sunny photos, but the real city is wet, windy, and full of broken umbrellas. I saw a trash bin full of broken umbrellas. It looks like a small graveyard. A child kicked a puddle and water flew onto my jeans. The child's parent said, "Sorry." I smiled. My jeans are wet already. I looked for dinner. I asked for mild food. The dish came spicy. My mouth burned. I drank water fast. The person laughed and brought yogurt. Later, I learned that mild here often means still hot. Many visitors suffer the same. It is not me, it is the city. At the next table, another tourist coughed and said, "This is mild." Everyone laughs, but it was a painful laugh. I asked for the bill. The person said, "Card only, no cash." I thought, in many photos, the city looks classic, but in real life, you cannot use cash in many places. It is not me, it is the city. At night, I walked by the river. The light shone on the water. It looked beautiful. But I also saw people sleeping on benches, under thin blankets. The media never shows this. They show the lights, not the cold people under them. I stopped for a moment. A man under a blanket looked at me and said, "Cold night, isn't it?" I nodded. I felt heavy inside. I gave him my extra sandwich. He said, "Bless you." I walked away with mixed feelings. The river looks pretty. The truth looks sharp. The next morning, my alarm did not ring. I woke up late. I ran to the bus. My heart beat fast. But when I arrived, I saw many people were also late, running and stressed. The city moves fast, but the systems fail. It is not me, it is the city. A woman next to me said, "The trains are always late." She rolled her eyes. Another man said, "There was a signal problem." He speaks like this is normal. People accept it. The media calls the transport amazing. The people call it a daily fight. I visited a museum. The rooms were quiet. I read simple notes. I did not understand every detail, but I saw many people were also confused. They took photos and left. The museum is big, but not always clear. It is not me, it is the city. A man said, "I came for history, but the signs make no sense. I thought the videos never show half rooms closed. They show perfect halls with perfect light." I left and took a wrong turn. I found a small market. I ate an apple. It was sweet. A mistake brought me a gift, but I also saw workers tired, carrying heavy boxes. The media shows markets as colorful fun. The truth is hard work, sweat, and tired faces. A woman selling bread said, "We work from morning to night. No one shows this part." I bought a small pastry. She smiled and said, "Thank you." Her hands looked strong and tired. I tasted the pastry. It was warm and full of care. On a bus, I saw a student give a seat to a tired person, a small kindness. But I also saw another person shout at the driver because the bus was late. The system is weak. People are stressed. It is not me, it is the city. A girl said to her friend, "I will be late again. My boss will be angry." The friend said, "It is normal. Blame the bus." They laughed without joy. I watched the faces. The city teaches patience by force. In the evening, I planned to see a show. A sign said, "Sold out." I felt sad. I saw that many people were also disappointed. Tickets are expensive, shows are full. The media shows glamour, but the truth is behind closed doors. A man said, "I live here and I never get tickets." A woman said, "The price went up again." She shook her head. I walked away and found a small square with a free event. People dance. Music is simple and happy. I joined. My mood grew again. The city closes one big door and opens a small window. I walked home. My phone died. I asked for help. A stranger said, "Follow the river." I walked and arrived safely. But I thought, in a modern city, why do so many people lose signal, lose battery, lose direction? It is not me, it is the city. I passed a public toilet and saw a sign that said, "Card needed." I laughed and said to myself, even here, card rules. A person knocked and waited. The system is slow. The videos show cute cafes, not this small daily stress. One night I took a bus late. The street was dark. I felt fear. I walked fast. I saw broken lights, empty shops, and closed doors. The media shows nightlife, but the truth is also fear and silence. A woman walked fast near me. She looked scared too. We both hurried. A car passed and splashed water. My shoes felt heavy. I chose a path with more light and stayed alert. I arrived at my room and locked the door. I thanked myself for being careful. I thanked the city for teaching me courage. The next day, I could not find my wallet. My breath stopped. I ran to the cafe. The person held it up and smiled. I felt relief. I said, "Thank you so much." The person said, "It happens all the time. People are tired and busy. They forget." I thought the city is fast, crowded, and easy to lose. It is not me, it is the city. I sat for tea and rested. The cup was warm, my hands calmed down. At the weekend market, I saw colors, bread, and music. I shared food with a stranger. It was sweet. But I also saw high prices, and people argued about money. The media shows joy, but not the stress of cost. A man said prices go up every week. He shook his head. A woman counted coins slowly. The seller waited with a kind face. This is life here. Kindness and cost dance together. I tried to buy a local SIM card. The shop looked modern, but the line was long. The person at the desk spoke fast. I asked, "Is this simple to use?" They said, "Yes, but data may be slow in some areas." I thought the photos show a perfect connection. The truth is a weak signal in many updates. I set up the card. It asked for more steps. I followed the steps. It worked after a while. The person said, "It is normal." I nodded. The city says, "Be patient." I sat in a small library corner to rest. The room is quiet, but not really quiet. A machine hums, a child whispers, a person coughs. Life here is never fully calm. I read a short note about the city. It talks about art and progress. It does not talk about broken lifts and busy lines. I smiled and thought, the city has two faces, one face for show, one face for daily life. I went to a shop to buy a simple adapter. The shelves were full, but the labels were confusing. I asked a worker which one is for me. They said, "It depends." I felt small. I chose one. At the counter, the price was higher than the sign. The person said, "The sign is old." I paid and left. It is not me, it is the city. Outside, a truck blocked the path. People squeezed by. A cyclist rang a bell. It is a small chaos. The videos love order. The streets love noise. I tried to visit a free gallery. The door was open, but a sign said limited entry. I waited. A group entered first. I waited more. Finally, I entered. Inside, some rooms were closed for private events. I saw only half of the gallery. A guide said, "It is normal." I smiled with a small pain. I walked out and sat on a step. The sky was heavy again. My shoulders dropped. A pigeon stared at me. I laughed and said, "Do you also wait every day?" The pigeon walked away like a boss. I stepped into a small supermarket. The aisles were narrow. People moved fast with baskets. A person bumped my shoulder and said, "Sorry." Then another person reached over me for a bottle and said nothing. I felt like a small fish in a fast river. I picked milk and bread. At the self-service till, the machine said, "Unexpected item in the bagging area." I looked around. A worker came, tapped a code, and said, "Happens all the time." It is not me, it is the city. I left with my bag and a small smile of surrender. I took a bus and a child cried loudly. The parent looked tired. A person on the phone spoke very loudly. Another person wore big headphones and sang softly. I breathed and tried to accept the mix. The city is a big orchestra. Sometimes the music is nice, sometimes it is noise. It is not me, it is the city. The bus stopped suddenly. The driver said, "Road works." We waited. People sighed. A worker in a yellow jacket moved cones slowly. The videos never show cones. They show smooth roads and fast cars. I set a plan to meet a friend of a friend. We chose a time. Then the message said, "Can we change the time? Train delay." I said, "Sure." We changed the plan twice. Finally, we met for only 20 minutes. It was short but warm. We shared tea and three small laughs. The city teaches flexible hearts. Plans are soft here. Time is a wave. It is not me, it is the city. I booked a ticket online for a show the next day. The confirmation email looked clear. In the morning, a new email said, "Event time changed." I felt my stomach drop. I breathed. I canceled and chose a walk instead. On the walk, I found a small street musician playing a sad song. The sound is honest and simple. I stood and listened. A person next to me wiped a tear. The city breaks plans and sometimes gives soft gifts. I tried to visit a park. The map showed open paths. In real life, a big part was closed for maintenance. A guard said, "It will open next week." I said, "I leave before that." He shrugged. I walked along the edge and watched birds. A child fed crumbs and laughed. The air smelled like wet grass. I touched a leaf and felt cold water on my finger. Nature here is gentle and strong at the same time. In the afternoon, I looked for a quiet place to work on my notes. I entered a cafe with soft music. I ordered tea. The table near the window looked perfect. I sat and opened my notebook. 2 minutes later, a group arrived and spoke very loudly. The quiet turned into a small storm. I smiled and moved to a corner. The staff said, "Sorry, it is busy today." I said, "It is okay. This is normal. It is not me, it is the city." I heard a siren. It is long and sharp. It passed. Then another one started. The city sings with sirens. The media adds music over videos and hides this sound. In real life, sirens are part of the rhythm. A person on the street said, "You get used to it." I thought, maybe, but it is still loud. I crossed the road. The light changed fast. A car moved close. I jumped back. A cyclist shouted, "Watch it." I raised my hand to say sorry, even when it is not my fault. The city moves fast. The lines of control are thin. In the evening, I tried a simple restaurant. The server was kind but very busy. I waited long. The menu showed a service charge. I asked, "Is this normal?" They said yes. I paid. I felt a little confused. The media shows perfect plates, not the bill details. A table near me sent back a dish. The server said, "We are short on staff. It happens." I ate my food and thought, the city is tired. The people still smile. That is power. I walked and saw a group of street cleaners working late. Their bright jackets shone under weak lights. They moved fast and picked up trash with calm hands. The videos show clean streets in the morning. The truth is, people who work all night to make the morning clean. I whispered, "Thank you," even if they cannot hear me. I tried the bus again the next day. The card reader said, "Daily limit reached." I said, "What does that mean?" The driver said, "It is a cap system." His words are simple, but the rules are not. I stepped back, used another card, and the reader smiled green. "It is not me, it is the city." A woman said, "Every day a new rule." I nodded. She laughed without humor. I stood in a queue for a bakery. The line was quiet. A person cut the line. People looked, but no one spoke. The person got bread and left fast. I felt a small fire inside. Then I chose peace. I waited for my turn. The bread was warm and soft. I bit and the crust sang. The city teaches me to let go of small fights. I saw a poster for a free talk. I arrived on time. The door was open, but the room was full. A staff person said, "We are at capacity." I stood outside with 5 other people. We talked. A man said, "This city is full of events, but also full of no space." A woman said, "We call it almost culture. You almost go, you almost see, you join." We laughed. It is not me, it is the city. I found a bench by the river and watched the water. A singer plays a soft song. 2 strangers stand near each other. They smile. I feel warm. I realize the city is not only lights and beauty, it is also broken machines, cold rooms, wrong buses, spicy food, lost wallets, tired workers, full rooms, weak signals, loud sirens, and small human kindness. The media hides this, but I lived it. The city tests you, then offers a small hug. The hug can be a song, a smile, a hot drink, a child's laugh, or a kind hand that points and says, "Follow the river." On my last morning, I packed my bag slowly. I made tea and sat by the window. I wrote a note for myself. When a plan breaks, look for a small door. When fear speaks, answer with one step. When the city feels big, find the river and breathe. When a system fails, remember it is not your fault. It is not you, it is the city. I carried my small suitcase to the bus. The driver looks new today. The sky is gray again. I feel ready. But I have one reason for you to stay with me to the very end. I'll tell you the moment that changed my heart forever. One afternoon, I sat by the river and watched the light on the water. A person sang a soft song. Their voice was calm and true. People passed, but some stopped. 2 strangers stood near each other. They do not speak. They listen. At the end of the song, they look and share a quiet smile. In that second, the city becomes a small village. I felt a warm wave inside. I realized we come to big cities for famous places, but we stay for small human moments like this. Thank you for walking with me. If my simple words help you enjoy English and feel close to real life, you can like this story, subscribe to the channel, and write a comment for me. Tell me your small human moment. See you in the next story.